Yo, what is up, everybody? We're live on the Privy Call with Nathan Payne. What's up, everybody? And we got my man. What's up, Nathan Valley?
Yo, what's going on, my man?
Dude, you know what we do, man. We come here every week and we give you the juice. We show you guys how to get deals, on market deals using Privy, how to navigate through the situations tactfully. Okay. So last week, if you don't remember, I had a pocket listing. Now, look, what is a pocket listing? Pocket listings are deals that real estate agents that you've networked with using Privy, that you've networked with that haven't brought the listing to the market yet. They haven't listed the property. So this happens a lot when you're talking to real estate agents using Privy. And so if none of you guys have seen Privy, it's right here. You need to freaking check it out. But what I'm basically saying is if you let me stop sharing my screen. So what happens is like an agent has listed properties, right? So sometimes they come across like a seller or someone they know that is thinking about listing or is in the process, but they know about this house before they even get the contract signed, before they put it on the market. And sometimes these properties can be distressed, need work, and sometimes the sellers don't even want them to list the house. They just want to know what cash offers or what options there are to sell their house quickly. So sometimes agents will sell houses before they even get on the MLS, before even listing them. Now, Nathan, did I clear that up for anybody that's watching that? Does that make sense?
Yeah, man, I think you covered it, guys, and that's one thing to remember specifically as wholesalers, fix and flippers, real estate investors. You know what real estate agents do and what we do. We serve two different types of clients, and I think one of the biggest things people overlook is you're not trying to get everyone to sell you their house. We're looking for the right people. Same thing with a real estate agent, right? There's people that are a good fit for a real estate agent and they're not the right fit for us, right? So that's okay. Hey, we let them and we kind of guide them to go in that direction. And likewise, we want to be there for the real estate agent when the real estate agent comes across that house that needs a ton of repairs, it needs a bunch of work. Guys, they do not want to list those houses.
Oh.
When we look at how an agent gets paid, it's based off a commission, a percentage of the sale price of the home. So for us as investors, we make money off buying really beat up houses at low prices. But for a real estate agent, they make less money the lower the price of the house is. And it's more headaches. They got to deal with investors. Typically, not speaking for everybody, but typically they're not the biggest fan of working with us, right? So if you're able to be kind of that card in their back pocket, that person that, you have a relationship with them, you're able to help them out, give them a ton of value and be that solution to where they can also get paid. And then a lot of times you can even pay them more money than if they were to list it.
Right.
Guys, it's a win-win for everybody.
No, exactly. So everybody don't a lot of the times when we're on using Privy and when we're looking for deals on market, a lot of the time, like if you make an offer and it doesn't get accepted, that's not the end. That's not, you shouldn't be like, oh, well, I didn't get this house. Why do I need to talk to this agent anymore? No, that's the purpose of doing this, everybody, on Privy is like, you're trying to build relationships. Yes, you're going to win some of those deals, but sometimes you're not, right? But it's the relationship that matters. So I have a specific example for everyone here. So I was networking with an agent. So I do agent outreach on top of making offers on properties. And this property right here, 350, that's listed for 350, that's under contract. This was brought to me before it was listed. So the agent was like, hey, I haven't listed this yet. This house needs a ton of work. How about you go and check it out? And I was like, okay. And me being as I wholesale, I fix and flip too, but I was looking to wholesale this one. Instead of like trying to run the numbers and the ARV and all that, I wanted to show my buyer the property before I even made an offer to the agent. So I just said, hey, you mind if I just go in with my buyer and, I can tell you exactly what I can offer before you list it? And she was like, of course. So I went there to the house personally because it was actually really close to me. And instead, my buyer couldn't make it. So let me show you guys like what I did. And this can help you all out. You can FaceTime your buyer while you're there. You can send a Zoom link, or I used the Google Meet link. I just sent the buyer the link and I said, bro, I'm going to walk through this house. while I'm walking through this house, just tell me like what you want to see, what you'd pay. So I walk through the house, and as you can see, I'm just skipping forward through it, but the house it's an old house. It needed a lot of work. And if a house is like pretty much outdated, it pretty much needs a whole huge brand new rehab, just like if something was down in the studs, because you got to redo everything. So I'm going through this, and at the very end, I talk to my buyer on the link, and I'm like, hey man, what would you pay? So we talk for a couple minutes, and he gives me his offer. So he says I can probably be around like 320 3 to 330. That's where I'd feel comfortable. So in this situation, I didn't have to have the house under contract. I didn't have to worry about, signing papers with her yet. I already had a concrete offer where he was good to go. So I went to her and I made the offer at 310 because I was hoping that he would do 330. So I wanted to make 20K, right? So what happened in this situation is she's like, let me bring it to the buyer. She was incentivized because she was going to get both sides of the commission. She was going to represent me for 2%, and she was going to represent the seller, as you can see right here, for 2%. That's 4%. She would double what she would get paid. Now, the issue was that the seller that she represented just wasn't that motivated. He's like, look, I can wait. So let's just put this on the market. So my offer, I know if the seller was more motivated and he would accept my offer because I had the best offer, right? And I was ready to go. Like I could close in 7 days. They put this on the market at 350, and unfortunately, fortunate for them, but unfortunate for me, they got above asking price offers, and that's because even though this is not a flip. Like this is in the sense it's not a flip. It's going to make sense at 350. I ran the numbers. 450 is like the ARV, and we'll show you guys those comps in a little bit. But this house is going to cost like $60,000 to $70,000 a flip. It's a bigger home. It really is super outdated. So someone is probably buying this to just live in it. Like, and that happens. And those are going to be hard people to beat. The person that's just going to buy it to live in it. So the reason why I gave you this whole spiel, everybody, is to let you know that through making the right relationships, by making offers and meeting agents, you don't necessarily need to always get the deal immediately that's listed. You can get deals before they even make it through the relationships you make in Privy. Go ahead, Nate. I know you probably got something to say.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to add on that is, a lot of people, when something goes under contract or they say they're going to go with another offer, it's, man, and we walk away. No. What I love to do is when a property goes under contract, if it's a house like this and I see it's already under contract, a lot of times I'll still call the agent. And the reason being is, just like what you were saying, you made an offer at 310. If somebody came in with a higher offer, and guys, especially if somebody's looking to live in the property, yes, it's hard to beat them on price. However, the likelihood of their financing falling through, there's also a very good chance of that. Or when they go to inspection, it falls through because it's just a different type of buyer. So what I like to do is I like to keep in touch with that agent. I say, hey, look, totally understand. I know you got that other offer you guys moved forward with. Hey, that's awesome. Congratulations. It's probably going to go forward, no issues. I'm sure you guys will make it to close. There won't be any problems. But would you mind if I just maybe just shot you a quick text or just gave a quick follow-up call in like 2 weeks just to see if for whatever reason circumstances have changed, and if they have, great, we can maybe pick up the conversation where we left off. And hey, if not, awesome, that's great too. And you guys are going to make it to close. And I've never had an agent say no, like, don't ever call me back. In fact, they're actually like, wow, like, that's really nice of you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Now, the best part is, just like you were saying, Nate, is guys, relationship game, right? So even if this house does sell and it goes through no problems, I still want to follow up in that 2-week time period, because that's another contact, that's another touch. And I'm continuing to build that relationship and build that rapport. And you're demonstrating to that agent, hey, you're somebody that, follows through on your word, you're dependable. And, oh, hey, yeah, I remember this guy, and then you can bring up, hey, I know that one wasn't a fit. Do you happen to have any others, maybe something that's not even listed yet, that you think would be a good fit for someone like me? And that's the power of Privy and utilizing agents in general, right? Guys, when we talk about Privy and especially utilizing Privy, when it comes to finding deals, there's no better, no faster way to do it. And the reason is because you're talking, when you're doing cold calling or direct mail, you're calling each and every individual homeowner, right? You're sending out a piece of mail to each and every individual homeowner. Now, we're not even going to go into how expensive that can get. But when you're talking to agents, you're creating relationships with, let's say you talk to 5 agents today. Well, those 5 agents, they're all talking to multiple people each and every day. They're doing their own outbound marketing. So when you kind of look at the spider web that connects everyone, by talking to 5 high leverage agents, you're really reaching hundreds and hundreds of other people through them. And you don't have to do that hard work.
No,
You just
100%.
use an awesome tool like Privy to do it.
And like what you're saying is all about maintaining the relationship. So like when she said that this, so she texted me, she said, hey, basically we got under contract, but we can keep you as a backup, and I basically was telling her like what I could do. And we were just, having a conversation back and forth, and I've kept that good relationship. So the purpose of us showing you all this is sometimes you don't win them all. And that's why I want everyone to know is like, I know those of you that have used Privy, you have to go through a certain amount of offers before. Now, obviously, you can get lucky and just get your first deal, but you have to go through. So don't be squandering those relationships if you don't get your offer accepted. Maintain the relationship. You will get pocket listings from it. You will be able to send your buyers through. Hopefully, you can do it like I did it, where it's just super simple. You just had your buyer look at your FaceTime and he told you what he could pay. You made the offer. But look, let me show you guys something so you guys understand where my buyer was and where offers are and why this deal doesn't really make sense for a buyer. Let me show you, because I wish I could have got the deal done. I wanted to make money, but it just didn't make sense. So if we just scroll down, this is the great thing about Privy, we can see some comps. So this house is listed at 350. Okay, it's a Rambler. All right, nothing crazy about the Rambler. Here's another one that's listed for 380, but there's no pictures on it, which is fine. Let's see. Look at this one, 375. Let's look at this one, 426. Okay, so this one freaking beat up too. Okay, now there's got to be something. And by the way, this is a non-disclosure state, and I'm not 100% sure Privy has all the data for everything, but I think just because it says it sold at 426, I don't think it did on this one. But anyway, let me look at this one. So this one says 415. This was kind of similar property. So if this did sell, if the data is accurate on this for 415, that's a pretty good comp, other than the kitchen being terrible. I don't know why they left that. It looks like they flipped the rest of the house, did a decent job, but they left that ugly kitchen. So let's assume that it sold for 415. So I'm going to show you guys how I run my numbers. We got right here. Where the heck is the offer calculator, bro? There it is. Okay.
Ooh, Kai, can we bring up a really good question we got here? Why bring that up?
Give me 1 second, because I'm going to show everybody the numbers right here to show why it didn't really make sense. So this is my flip calculator. This is what flippers use to see if they'll make money. So the ARV I put at 445. If the ARV is 415, like this sold, it's a terrible deal for whoever bought that or who's buying it if they're going to flip it. So 445, I offered 310. It's going to take about 6 months if you have the commission at 3%, 1% on the closing costs, and it takes 6 months to flip. My buyer was saying it's going to cost about $70K to flip this thing. We bought it at 310, paid my wholesale fee, and resold for 445, he would be at a 5% net margin on his return on his investment, $22,000. If he was at 415, which is the other house, my man would lose $5,000. Very, very bad deal. Now, let me show you this. This is kind of cool. The cool thing about Privy is this Privy can usually show you what someone bought it for and what they sold it for. So if you look at the house right here, maybe they might have a before and after pic. Okay, so it doesn't have the before pics, but let's go to the numbers of this house. They bought it for 357. and let's say they put, let's just say they did a medium rehab, $20,000 into it. They lost, if the rehab took them 6 months, even if it took them 4 months, they lost $253 on that deal. So sometimes, you guys, just because the numbers don't pencil out and you're like, what, my buyer, like, I know it's a deal. Just because people are doing those deals doesn't mean it's a good idea. For this deal to be a good idea, my buyer was even being a little bit, I would say, I think he's overpaying at the price that I had it at when it was with the 70K rehab, because he wasn't going to make a lot of money. For this deal to really make sense where I would have took it down, I probably would have had to get it at like 270 or like 290. So anyway, it's important to know why your buyers are offering what they are, what their numbers are, because it helps you make those offers. And I also explain to the agent like why I'm offering what I'm offering, so they understand like I'm not trying to lowball them or be offensive. But it's kind of crazy, man, seeing that there are people out there that are just buying stuff, and it doesn't always look like the best decision. I'm sure they thought they would make more on that deal. They probably lost money on that.
One question we have here from Darius: how do you avoid a buyer going behind your back to the listing agent when you have an on-market property under contract? Darius, really good question. I get this one a lot. So, well, one, if it's already under contract, if you have it under contract, like, you're fine, right? Because you're secured by that contract. So the buyer can't go around you. But typically when I'm doing this, it's before I have it under contract. Guys, I like to have my houses sold before I even make my offer. Best way to do business, for sure. So the way we do that is, one, I only work with buyers that I have a really good relationship with. Two, could that buyer go behind my back? Yeah, he could, but if he does, he's never going to get another deal from me again, right? And number three, the most important thing is, if it's a home run deal, when you look at the numbers and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to make 80, 90, 100 grand, assignment fee on this house. That's yes. Get that under contract first.
Yeah,
because that's a deal all day, every day, no matter what. But the vast majority, I would bet, in for me anyways, but I would imagine this is probably similar for a lot of you watching. Most of the houses we look at, when we look at the numbers and we're comping it and analyze the deals, a lot of it's like, man, well, it could be a deal if ARV's this, but if they look at it this way, it might not be a deal, or it could be a deal if the rehab is only this much, but the rehab could also maybe be this much, right? So the vast majority of what we look at, it's kind of right on the fence of like, is it a deal or not a deal? And that's where it depends on who you're talking to and on who your buyer is. And that's kind of what we specialize in. But that's those deals that are on the fence, that's where we're able to utilize our buyers. And because we have relationships with them, one, let's take the hypothetical. Let's say one of my buyers did go around my back and buy that deal. Well, I get to learn that that's not somebody I want to do business with, but I learned on a deal that I wasn't even sure if it was a deal or not, right? I'm not going to learn that lesson on the 80, 90, 100K deal, right? So, Darius, I hope that kind of answers that question for you, but really, really good question.
And to explain a little bit deeper how I navigated that one, how nobody went behind my back on that one. Relationship, yeah, that wouldn't have happened. But either way, there was a lockbox on the door, and the agent gave me the code or to get in. So I basically just gave that to my buyers. I say, hey, is it cool if I send some of the people I work with through? And she's like, yeah. So that's how you do it as well. Now, if they go meet the agent, then you just have to set the right expectations. One thing you'll all realize that business, life, relationship, everything is setting the right expectations up front. If you don't set the right expectations up front, it can get fishy. You can feel weird. That's why I think a lot of people get weird about wholesale, and they're just like, they feel like they're doing something wrong. It's like, no, you just need to set the expectations to the seller, to the agent. It's like, hey, look, I'm going to buy this property, or I'm going to work with a couple partners to get it done. Does that work for you? Or that's what I'm going to do. Any issues? No. All right, great. It's over. There's now, if you act weird about it, you're like, oh, well, you know, that's the problem. You're trying to do something that you don't know about, like maybe you feel a little shady about. It's all about setting the right expectations and being upfront and honest in the beginning.
100%, man.
Well, that's it, everybody. So we'll wrap it up. Build relationships with agents. If you make an offer and you do not get that deal, it's not the end of the world. That's actually okay, because you're trying to develop relationships with those agents so you can bring more value and get more deals in the future. All right. What else? You got anything else to say, Dave, before we sign off?
No, that's it. Other than that, yeah, guys, we love Privy. You know, guys, finding deals through agents on market. You know, when we're talking about wholesaling, if you're sitting there trying to figure out like, hey, you know, what's the absolute fastest way I can make a deal without spending a whole ton of money, right? What's the fastest way I can do a deal and be the most profitable? This is literally it. Guys, everybody that's listed on the market or talking to an agent, they want to sell right now. And the best part, costs $0 to find them, right? You don't have to spend money on skip tracing or pulling lists or sending postcards or on a dialer and cold call. None of that, right? You're just reaching out to agents. And for the price of Privy, you know, I'll let you guys in on a secret. It is, in my opinion, I think it's drastically underpriced. For what you're able to do with it is insane. And the fact that it only costs the few bucks that it does, yeah, it's a steal. So I don't know how long they're going to keep it at, you know, I would imagine it's probably going to increase at some point in the future. But seriously, guys, get it, leverage it, start doing deals.
That's it. Now, everybody, if you like kind of like what we talked about and you want a little bit more, we do in our Facebook group, we do talk a lot about Privy and how to use it and leverage it. So we're talking about it, but we do come to you once a week with this. So if you like this, keep coming back every Tuesday at 3 Mountain Standard Time, whatever time zone you're in, just figure that out. And we will hope to see you again. And I think Kevin is coming in hot with one last thing before we go. Don't let Benson hear that. You're right, Kevin. Hey, Nathan, come on, man. Don't ruin it for all of them. They love what they're getting. All right, everybody. Peace.
Later, guys.